And welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, Gungans, droids, and you know what? Give a special shout out to all you crazy fanatical rebels out there to today's video where we got a nice treat for you guys. Tomorrow starts the last leg of the Luthen Rael conquest grind, and if you've been feeling that conquest fatigue, in this video, we have early access Omicron gameplay of Luthen Rael Duncan on Galactic Legends. Folks, come on over. As I said, tomorrow starts that last tail end of our conquest grind, and you might be feeling that conquest fatigue, but people, this is going to help you get across that finish line. There's going to be a lot of opportunities with Luthen Rael and Saw Gerrera's lineup, in Mon Mothma's lineup, taking down a lot of Galactic Legends. We have a lot of gameplay versus GL, some things against Queen Amidala, for example, to give us a little sample taste for what's to come. And a special shout out to SWGOH Events. Our data miners over there in our community have their little fun little sandbox mode they created for themselves, and usually in that last leg of conquest they start showing us some gameplay in their little sandbox server. So yeah, we got some cool stuff ahead of us. So big shout out. This was from Lux, one of our data miners at SWGOH Events Discord server. Went ahead, put together a little montage, and yeah, Gary, you ready? Let the fireworks commence. Let's show you people what we got going on. We're gonna have to kind of remind ourselves a little bit of the kit, because I know it's been a couple months since we read the kit reveal here, but what we're having here is a lot of different opportunities to utilize Luthen Rael, starting us off with some Mon Mothma stuff. And let me gently remind you guys, we're gonna kind of do some little kit overview stuff in case, it's been a minute since the last time he picked it up, because Luthen Rael's kit alters depending on if he's a curator, which is technically in any non-Saw Gerrera lineup, Mon Mothma basically. And if he's in a Saw Gerrera lineup, he gets different sets of powers. So let's kind of go briefly remind ourselves by just going to the Dreams with Go. Spoiler, yeah, we're gonna dunk on Rey. Rebel fighters were already almost able to kind of sometimes dunk on Rey. Luthen Rael's making it incredibly easy because we have tons of ways to ramp up the durability of the team. But Dreams with Goes, Mon Mothma and Rebel fighter allies get 20 speed at the start of each encounter if the allied leader is a Rebel, not a Galactic Legend. So, Saw Gerrera, Mon Mothma, what you're gonna get is you're gonna instantly summon a Rebel trooper, instantly promote them to Rebel commander. So we're talking all the vacation benefits, we're talking the dental, healthcare, all those great stuff they got going on. Then while the Rebel commander is active, Luthen is immune to ability block, cooldown increases, and taunt effects, and he can't be targeted or reduced below 100% health. So that's no matter where he is. If it's Mon Mothma, Saw Gerrera, but things start altering a little bit. At the start of the battle, if there's a Rebel leader and there are no Rebel Galactic Legend allies, so Leia or Gana, if Saw Gerrera is the leader, Luthen gains the Axis effect. Otherwise, he's a curator. So we saw that. If you haven't seen Andor, I get it's maybe not the typical Star Wars experience of pew pew and lightsabers, which trust me, I get it. That's kind of what Star Wars is all about. Still a very well-made show. Highly recommend you go watch it and get yourself maybe a little bit more hype for this guy here. And there's a season 2, and apparently Krennic's gonna be making an appearance, which I'm really excited about. But when he's with Saw Gerrera, he becomes an Axis member. Whenever a Rebel trooper is summoned, they gain the expendable asset effect and are inflicted with mark for 2 turns, which can't be copied, dispelled. And whenever a Rebel trooper is defeated, all attacker allies have their cooldown resets. That is pretty nutty. That's gonna be really nice. It's getting that big cooldown reset, but it's kind of hard to make it work up against Leia or Gana, right? Because, well, you can't really reset cooldowns up against Leia. But when he's a curator, whenever a Rebel trooper begins its turn, Luthen and Mon Mothma gain 20% turret, so you really keep that Mon Mothma train alive. And with the expendable asset, you can't gain stealth and always be targeted by enemies, so it's kind of like a taunt. You're basically forcing your commander to taunt over and over and over again. And it's good because you want him to die up because it provides you a bunch of benefits when they go. Boy, Luthen Rael's a dirty guy, let me tell you. That's one boss I would not want to work under. Lose 70% max health and gain 70% offense, and whenever a Rebel trooper uses basic ability, inflict defense down on the target enemy for 2 turns, which can't be evaded or resisted. And whenever a Rebel trooper uses a special ability, they're inflicted with mark, which can't be copied or dispelled, and gain retribution for 2 turns, which can't be dispelled. And then more importantly, the Omicron. So we're seeing the Omicrons turn down right now. When we do our first test, we're gonna have to wait a little bit. If there are no Rebel Galactic Legend allies at the start of the battle, Mon Mothma and Rebel fighter allies gain 30% max health. That is big. You saw in the Rey battle, we were able to eat up that entire AoE from Rey's ultimate. Your mastery also increased by 30%, and you get 20 speed and 50% bonus protection. That really kind of gives you that cushion you need to survive Galactic Legend Raid dumping her ult when you're getting all this crazy turn meter. And the first time Rebel Commander is defeated, in each battle, summon a Rebel Trooper again, and you promote them to Rebel Commander. So you're kind of like never-ending cheese for the most part. And when you're using it on offense, the enemy team's kind of an idiot. And even when it's on defense and you're fighting it, you're gonna have a hard time taking it down. So that right there kind of highlights the overview of the ways of utilizing this with Mon Mothma and Saw Gerrera at two vastly different things. He takes more of a support role in a Mon Mothma lineup, keeping the Terminator pumping, supporting the team, making them a little bit more durable. And in Saw Gerrera, it's all out offensive warfare. I like that. It gives you a lot of theory craft, potential, flexibility in your roster. And as you're already seeing, some lineups, Saw Gerrera is gonna be better with Luthen Rael. But sometimes Mon Mothma is going to be better. So, for example, up against Leia, Saw Gerrera didn't look all that good. They got dunked on extremely quickly. You can't even get those cooldown resets. Is what's kind of the main highlight of being able to get Luthen Rael to work a Saw Gerrera. You kill out the Rebel Commander, boom, all of a sudden, cooldowns are reset. But in a Mon Mothma lineup, you are pushing so much turn meter. You're blitzing down. You got some better damage than before. And all of a sudden, a much different battle. Now we got some other GLs here. For example, Eternal Bane, probably not very pragmatic because you can't put that on defense. But one thing I'm saying here, we got a lot more testing to do. Bane is likely going to be, again, one of those counters that are going to be necessary for this. But Bane is kind of being used for a lot of different things. So if you got to use Bane on Saw Gerrera, Luthen, you know, things get a little complicated. Here's a Supreme Leader Kyle Ren battle that we have here. And again, I'm just going to spoil a few. Most of these battles we're winning. The data miner, their preliminary testing, it's looking like Master Kenobi's going to be able to beat it. You can't get turn meter. They got insta kills. You know, Kenobi can kind of work around the taunt situations going on there. And on top of that, Jabba seems to also be doing pretty well up against Luthen Rael because, well, lots of thermal detonators. They seem to have that kind of locked in. But for the most part, preliminary looks before we get it in the real world, not this lovely sandbox world that he's playing in right now. It's seeming like Lord Vader's gonna be beatable, Supreme Leader Kyle Ren's gonna be beatable, Rey's gonna be beatable, Leia's gonna be beatable. I mean, again, for a conquest, which let's be fair and transparent here. Even myself, when we first got the Luthen Rael kits, like, oh, you know, is it gonna be good? You know, because let's be real, most conquest characters, they hit. Rarely do they miss. Trench, Boba Fett's Sign of Django, Ben Solo's maybe a little bland and boring, but he serves a purpose. More often than not, our conquest units have been very good in the game, and we're seeing it. And I'm happy to see that because conquest units, they take a lot of effort, a lot of grind, a lot of roster stuff, a lot of dedication. Maybe some of you guys spend money on the conquest stuff out there. You want them to be decently good. Maybe not like Galactic Legends good, but if you're taking down a lot of Galactic Legends and you have multiple lineups you can work with, that's something that's going to resonate with a lot of people, especially when a lot of people have their Mon Mothma build up and their Saw Gerrera built up here. So I like what we're seeing where, depending on what you have or what you're taking on, Luthen Rael's going to kind of fit in a variety of different lineups, which is pretty sick. Let's go ahead and highlight a few more things about this kit while we let the rest of this gameplay go through. But that unique ability really highlights everything that we have going here. And again, the further to point, a sunless space. You gotta love that little bit that Luthen Rael did in Andor. Mon Mothma, all Rebel Fighter allies gain speed up and bonus protection 20%. Again, ways to be durable, ways to survive. All Rebel Fighter allies dispel all debuffs when he's an Access member. For each debuff dispelled, they gain 10% turn meter. So again, you're just really moving the lineup here. Gary, pause this for a second. We need to talk about something here. It looks like there is a bug up against teams that have, what's the right word? Teams that have the spawnable, the decoy, for example, spawnable units. It seems like there's an incorrect interaction with Saw Gerrera. Mon Mothma, here's the Mon Mothma battle. Let's show that first, but we're gonna have some Saw Gerrera gameplay. You're gonna have to be a little bit more cognizant with that as we move forward here. But anyways, moving on. When you have the Access members, you get tons of turn meter if the Rebel commander is active and inflict mark on them, so making sure that they take all the action. When you're a Curator, you're rallying Mon Mothma and all Rebel Fighter allies. So again, 2 mass swarm abilities on a Mon Mothma team is insane. That's how you're gonna get your turn meter rolling, especially with that Hoth Rebel Scout. And then over here we have, what do I sacrifice? This is where you're going to be able to, yet again, summon another Rebel Trooper onto the field, get them to Commander. If they're already present, you get to dispel all the debuffs to them. They get bonus turns. Then Rebel Fighter or Mon Mothma gains 30% offense, which is stacking, and they're immune to turn meter reduction until the end of the next turn. Man, a lot of good stuff here. And then if they're an Access member, the Rebel Commander is going to be juicing the offense by 50%. and the Curator, if the Rebel Commander is already present, they recover 50% health and protection. So here's what I want to pay attention to. So we're running Saw Gerrera. Mon Mothma didn't look too good up against Queen Amidala. But check this out. For whatever reason, the bombs are detonating. Roll that back, Gary. Check it again. The bombs are immediately detonating, and it seems to only be when fighting teams that have spawnable units. So Queen Amidala, the Handmaiden Decoy. We have some Geonosian stuff at the end. So take this with a grain of salt right now. This could be a bugged interaction that CG is not aware of that just came out of nowhere. Again, it's also a sandbox build, so it's not even an official build. It's kind of outside the scope of the normal game. So something could be wrong, but man, if Saw Gerrera and Luthen Rael could take down a Queen Amidala, yeah, that's a big deal. And then Wallen Grand Ridders with those Omicrons, again, more ways to just pump it out damage on the team. And the fact that you're immune to Terminator reduction, man, that's big stuff. Big stuff. And then we have our tools of the enemy, our basic ability right here. Again, depending on where you're at. If you're with, for example, the Curators, you're going to dispel all buffs on a target enemy, which is great. He's always going to be called to assist. During Luthen's turn, if the allied Rebel Commander is active, you're going to call them to assist. Keep in mind, the basic also is healing immunity, which is great, especially in that Lord Vader battle. When you're trying to blitz that guy down, he can't get any healing going on. During Luthen's turn, you're going to get buff immunity on the target enemy, which is great ways to control them, and getting fear on the enemy team is going to be a pretty nice thing to have. But I haven't been seeing too much fear in this game because he's spamming all of his special abilities for the most part when he's with Saw Gerrera. And then during Luthen's turn with those Omicrons, getting extra speed, and the target enemy has their defense reduced by 30% until the next time Luthen uses his basic ability. In most of his gameplay, I'm not seeing Luthen use his basic ability. He's pretty much spamming all his big stuff, but especially in Mon Mothma, I think that's when you're going to probably see more of his basic ability being used here. So again, just to show a couple more bugged interactions, boom. The bombs go off automatically. Same thing here. There's not even Luthen Rael, so it's not even a Luthen Rael interaction. So something that seems a bit odd right now. So you got Kyle Katarn going in and doing his thing. Yeah. Eventually, Saw Gerrera is going to drop the bombs, and immediately they detonate. That shouldn't be happening. So it seems to only be working up against units that have spawnable members. So again, hard to say this is something that's going on in game that CG hasn't addressed. Again, it's not even a Luthen Rael interactions going on here. Or, boy, because that's one of the biggest things about Saw. Like, getting those bombs to go off faster is kind of would make him a lot better. But that's basically all we have now as our little appetizer to hold us over for the upcoming Luthen Rael. Progressively, as I said, starting from the first announcement of the kit reveal, and then kind of getting our first look of him inside of Conquest when we fought him, and now seeing this, and before we even get it in our hands, our video gaming division's hands, into our Kyber Empire hands, I'm already seeing a lot of potential. The things that he's beating, it's kind of a big deal. It's actually, man, maybe even exceeding my expectations. My expectations with the Conquest aren't like, you got to be able to beat all Galactic Legends. I like Malgus. He's not really a Galactic Legends player, but I like Malgus, for example. But Luthen Rael, being able to get into that territory, whew, we're going to have to wait and see. And I know we hate talking about the D word, but hey, we have to be pragmatic. The D word is real in this game. It's kind of a feature here to stay, whether you like it or not. The Datacrons. This is going to be absolutely absurd. I've already shown Kyle Katarn and Saw Gerrera with this Datacron pre-Luthen, and we're getting big damage out there, and it's one of the better defensive teams this season, 3v3. Once you get Luthen Rael in here, and Luthen Rael, I'll double check to make sure I'm not wrong. Yeah, Gary, I'll double check. He's got even more ways of supercharging this support element here, which in turn will ramp up your critical damage. What you're seeing here, folks, is literally just the start to the whole process. We got a couple more GLs I would like to try to take down, a couple more bigger teams I'd like to see outside the GL realm, like how does he handle things like Malgus, for example, things of that nature. But right now, folks, I am seeing a lot of positivity surrounding this guy back here. Let me know your thoughts down below on your first look Omicron Galactic Legends slaying gameplay. I think you guys might like it. Again, a lot of you guys have Saw Gerrera built up for Cal. A lot of us had Mon Mothma built up during our whole Master Loop journeys out there. Being able to get a guy to just throw in there and then shoot, if you could take a Mon Mothma and Luthen Rael pre-Datacron, taking out a Leia, I mean, what more can you ask for? I mean, the question is, should he be doing that? I don't know. Anyways, folks, we'll be back in 2 weeks with Luthen Rael in our hands. But in the meantime, leave that like, comment down below, subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And always remember how it's great to be in the Empire today. Oh, it's great to be in the Empire today.
sun never sets.